Hello, everybody. My name is meteorologist Hutch Johnson, and we're going to talk about our severe weather risk as we roll through our work week this week. Numerous days of severe weather potential. We're going to talk meteorologically about what's taking place. I'll give you my pick day when I think things may uncork in portions of the central and southern plains. We'll talk a little bit about some of the things that meteorologists look for. Where's that set up and what you can look for as well. It all starts right now. We'll even cover what's going on this evening as we have some severe thunderstorms that are roaming through the plains of Texas tonight. Let's get started with that look at those severe weather risks, and we're going to look at the basic overall weather pattern across the United States in the short term. Here's that short-term forecast. We're going to do that right now. Let's take a look as we head on over to a look at the weather map over the next couple of days. Now, it's Tuesday evening, and we do have a severe risk right here where you see the little yellow area in central Texas. A couple storms ongoing. Showers of rain in green and a cold front bringing some chilly air into the northern plains. We'll look at some of the impacts of that here momentarily, but there's actually freeze warnings and some frost advisories and freeze watches across portions of the United States. Wednesday is a little severe weather break, right? We will have some showers, thunderstorms. One or two may be strong in the deep south central portions of the United States, while snow develops from an area low pressure developing in the central Rockies, and then everything begins to, unfold. Thursday is a enhanced risk of severe weather for some, all the way across the high plains of Kansas, Oklahoma, from the Panhandle into central Oklahoma and the Panhandle of Texas, northern Texas, and the storm system in the Rockies will begin developing and producing some heavy areas of snow. So that is a look at what we have going on over the next couple of days and what we're going to expect with regards to that severe weather as it works its way through. Now, let's show you some of the risks of severe weather that we have going on. And to do that, we'll take a look down here at the storm predictions risks for this Tuesday night. Storms are rumbling across the area. By the way, the light green colors you see here, that's just a garden variety thunder shower. Where we see the marginal risk, that's all the way up into the mitten of Michigan, down in towards Chicago. There's a marginal risk of a couple of thunder showers there. And in fact, we do have some ongoing convection this Tuesday night there. There is a slight risk of severe weather. A few storms have become severe in parts of northern and central Texas. That is surrounded by the dark green circle where there's a marginal risk, meaning one or two of those storms could possibly reach severe criteria. That is a look at your day one forecast. Now, remember, I said there's going to be a break on day two. That would be your Wednesday. So Wednesday, a break in severe weather. Here's Thursday, folks. And there's already an enhanced risk of severe weather highlighted by the Storm Prediction Center for portions of Oklahoma, central and southern Kansas, as well as the Panhandle of Texas. A slight risk encompasses that in yellow. Now, these areas, there will be all modes of severe weather possible. A few tornadoes cannot be ruled out. In fact, strong tornadoes cannot be ruled out, particularly in the enhanced area. And in fact, Storm Prediction Center has a highlight here, probabilistic outlook of severe weather. Where you see the black hatched area, there is what we call a significant risk of severe weather in that hatched area. Anything from very large hail, very large hail, 2 to 3 inches out there, causing problems in western Kansas, western Oklahoma, and northern Texas. And there is a 30% chance in the red area of seeing severe weather within 30 miles to 50 miles of any point. So some widespread thunderstorm activity right there where the enhanced risk is. That is your Thursday, folks. Now, what about Friday? Yes, more thunderstorm chances are in the offing as we go through the middle of the United States. So storms will move as far north as Iowa as we head into Missouri, as well as portions of Texas for that day. That's a day 4 outlook. How about as we close out your Friday and head into the weekend? Well, this could be Hutch's pick for the greatest risk for some severe weather potential as we head into the early part of the weekend. That's right. There is a severe thunderstorm risk in those areas as we go through Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas. And I'll show you why I think this could be the pick day for some very stout thunderstorms and even a tornado risk. Now, as we close out the weekend on Sunday, the severe weather threat will work its way all the way northward towards Rockford, Illinois, all the way up into the Chicago area. And as far south as the hills in Texas, northern Louisiana, most of Arkansas, and the Boot Hill of Missouri also included, not to forget you. That's a look at the Storm Prediction Center. Now let's talk about some weather secrets. As a meteorologist of 30 years doing work in research in the classroom, teaching meteorology to students at the college level, as well as broadcasting for the better part of 30 years, I like to talk a little meteorology. Here's some things that you can look for as far as what it is that can go on out there that can give us some ideas. Now, to do that, a couple of things that you may or may not know is the fact that our surface weather we have down here on the ground where we live is steered by some currents in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And one of those currents that stirs the wind is indeed that jet stream. So let's take a look at that jet stream, and let's go ahead and do that over here. And the jet stream, as we go through the night tonight, what I want to point out is the jet stream typically moves from west to east as we go across the lower 48 here, across North America. So there's that flow from the west side of the country to the east side of the country, and that flow steers our storms. Now, sometimes that jet stream takes big dips that we call troughs. So I'm going to duck out. There we go. Whoops, I ducked out. I ducked out the wrong thing. That happens. Here we go. Now, check this out. In the nation, as we head into our Tuesday evening, here is a look at where the jet stream is. Do you see this flow making its way straight from Seattle, and it's blowing across the Dakotas and southern Minnesota, and it's bringing a cold burp of air to these areas? This jet stream is located right here, blasting across. This is more of what we call a zonal flow. It's moving almost straight west to east with no big dips. Watch what happens. There's a big dip in the forecast, and when I say big dip, I mean rather large. Let's take a look at this large dip that forms. Now we'll set this into motion. Here you go. Coming off the coast of California right here. Boom. There's wind advisories for Southern Cal for this for 3 days of gusts to 70 miles per hour. Now this is at the jet stream level. This is the dip in the jet stream flow. So the jet stream, as it makes its way over North America, dips all the way south toward the Baja Peninsula, and then it works its way up into the Rocky Mountains. And here is your Thursday risk. What I want to point out is the purple area. This is an area of enhanced wind speed called a jet maximum. That's going to provide some shear. One item of note, I want to point out that right here, this is a trough of low pressure. That little dip in the jet stream flow is oriented north and south. You see my crosshairs moving north and south. That is ordinary. But what makes this extraordinary is when we move this forward in time as we go into your Thursday afternoon. Here we go. Here's Thursday afternoon. It starts becoming negatively tilted. See, the trough is tilted this way now? Okay, what does that mean? Well, the winds at the jet stream level are coming south all the way into Texas, and then they're rocking back up into Wyoming. That's right. At the jet stream, the wind doesn't often blow from east to west, but that's what happens here. When we get a negatively tilted trough, and particularly when one of those closes off, like right here, see this circle in the pressure pattern aloft, in the height pattern aloft, that is where we will have some enhanced areas of lift in the atmosphere caused by the divergence of air aloft. And this area here is where we have the concern for severe thunderstorms on your Thursday. So we could have all modes of severe weather possible. Very large hail, gusty straight line winds, particularly late, and even a few tornadoes. This moves up into portions on Friday. You can see here's this trough that we're following, and here are the jet streak. It's getting a little weaker as far as the winds go, so the support for huge hail may not be prolonged throughout Friday night and into Saturday morning, but there will be a risk for some spinning thunderstorms in the areas of Iowa, northern parts of Missouri, and on down into portions of Oklahoma. Now, the timestamp on this is Friday night and into Saturday. Do you see this huge dip coming in? Again, this dip in the jet stream is oriented straight north and south. Ordinary. It's going to become extraordinary. Look at the bright colors you see here. That's increased winds. This is a jet streak with 120 to 130 mile per hour wind speeds. Boom. It becomes negatively tilted. This is Saturday. So Hutch's pick for severe weather is going to be Saturday because the jet stream will be stronger, which will initiate some more spin in the lower atmosphere and enhance storms. And this negative tilt gets ridiculous right here. We're talking Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and Texas is where this jet maximum is expected to go. Now, this is a look at the European model, by the way, and many models are agreeing on this unsettled pattern. And I do believe as we head into Saturday night and into Sunday morning, this jet streak, this negatively tilted trough is going to wreak havoc, and then it pushes north. But watch what happens to wind speeds. They start to decrease. This trough does weaken a bit, which isn't out of the ordinary, and the risk for the maintenance for these storms will shift off into places like Iowa, Missouri, and parts of Oklahoma and Texas as we go into Sunday. So the severe thunderstorm risks, as we talked about earlier, will not be just a one-day show. We're talking about a few storms tonight to break Wednesday. Thursday, all risks are possible. Friday, yeah, all risks are possible. Shift to the east. Saturday, Hutch's pick. I've showed you one reason why, and we're going to show you more. And by the way, thanks for watching. I surely appreciate your feedback. If you like what you're seeing here, throw a like. It really does help me, and I'd love to have you subscribe to my channel right here. Give me a subscription right there. Let's get going, though, with a talk about spin in the atmosphere. What are all the ingredients? We showed you this big wave of troughs moving off the west coast that is going to enhance our severe risk for several days in a row. But will there be the ingredients we need to make storms? So we're going to go over a few of them, and here's what you can expect in the last portion of the video. We're going to look at spin in the atmosphere. That's that turning that we need, or shear that causes tubes of air to turn horizontally over the ground. Thunderstorms form and rising air can bend those tubes down to the ground. So we're looking for spin. We're looking for where the convection is. Where are these bubbles of air that form thunderstorms? Rising hot pockets, if you will. Hot pockets. Hutch needs a hot pocket. Okay, now back to the topic. All right, we're going to look for that convection after we look at spin. And then even if we get a rising hot pocket of air, doesn't always mean it's going to rise up to those 40, 50, 60,000 foot towers that we can get in thunderstorms. Sometimes we can get something over the top of that rising bubble of air that blocks its growth up. That's called inhibition, or some of you may have heard it as a cap. We're going to look at all of those facts as well real quickly. But to do that, right now, what we're going to start with is a look at a model. So let me open this model up here as you bear with me for just one moment. I appreciate that. Okay, we're going to look at there's your jet stream flow. What we're going to look at now is the severe weather potential, and we're going to look at some, well, let's go ahead and pop up a different model. Here's our American model, and we're going to go ahead and look at some severe weather parameters, and we're going to start with that shear or spin in the atmosphere. We call that helicity, so if you're ever wandering around on these sites, you can look for spin. The bright colors shows where there is spin in the atmosphere. I caution you that not every day do we have spin in the same area that we have the lift for thunderstorms. For instance, this Tuesday evening, we have thunderstorms in Texas, but there's not a lot of spin evident in Texas right in that same area. So the risk of tornadoes is not as great. There's a severe thunderstorm watch out there. We have a lot of spin in Michigan going on right now, and a few storms are out there. But watch what happens as we move through the concern time, particularly into Thursday. Here's Wednesday. We get a break. What you're seeing here is the development of the low pressure system in the high plains of the Rockies of Wyoming, Colorado, and the high country of western portions of Nebraska and Kansas. Here we go. This is Wednesday and into Thursday, and boom. In Thursday's time frame, we start seeing an enhanced amount of spin with that, well, that trough that's negatively tilted working its way into the plains. There's going to be some spin available as we go through from Oklahoma and the parts of Arkansas and down into Texas. Then as we go from Thursday's event and into the day on Friday, that spin enhances as we go through the overnight hours into eastern Nebraska, Iowa, and Missouri. So there will be spin in the atmosphere, but will we get thunderstorms on those days? Now, this is Friday. That spin makes its way through in the afternoon hours up north. And then Saturday. Now, here's Saturday. Watch what happens as this next wave over here will be working its way out of parts of the Baja Peninsula and into Texas. Here we go. This is where I think we'll have the best chance for some more widespread stout thunderstorms with the potential for that tornadic development. Look at this as the afternoon of Saturday and evening of Saturday. We're talking Oklahoma and Texas is where things get rocking and rolling. We're going to have a cold air system moving through portions of Nebraska, so the risk of tornadoes is not all that great there, but we'll keep you apprised of that. And these storms will rock their way all the way through Missouri and on up into the northern plains as we go through Saturday night and into Sunday, which is where the threat shifts on Sunday off to the east. So this shows us that we definitely do have that potential of the spin in the atmosphere concurrent with storms that form on Thursday. On Friday, there will be some spin in the atmosphere. But we showed you the jet stream weakens a little bit as it goes up north towards Iowa as we get into the latter hours of your Friday. Saturday, it's game on again, starting in the deep south of Texas and Oklahoma. Now, we looked at that spin. Now let's take a look at another fun thing, and that's going to be that convection. Where do we have the energy? Convection is rising pockets or bubbles of air. So once again, we'll go back to looking at the severe weather convective potential energy. And when we look at that, it gives us an idea of where we have the most unstable air. Now, the colors you'll see here, I'm just going to highlight the days that we're worried about. Here is a look at your Thursday. Notice the convective energy in the atmosphere as we go through Thursday is highest in central Kansas, western Oklahoma, and northern Texas. Now, as we go into Friday, that shifts up into Iowa, spreading into the eastern parts of Oklahoma and Texas. Then on Saturday, as we go into the afternoon, here we go. A lot of buoyancy in the atmosphere. That buoyancy will cause rising pockets of air in portions of Oklahoma and Texas to really have a lot of energy as we work our way through the day. And here's the peak as we go through the evening time, this afternoon and evening time. We're talking Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and the hills of Texas having the most energy. This is on Saturday. And then we move up into Sunday's risk, and we see the colors aren't quite as bright as it moves off to the east from Iowa through parts of Arkansas and Missouri. However, Texas remains a hot spot for some convective energy in the atmosphere. Now, I mentioned to you that we can have something called a cap blocking that rising pocket of air. That's called inhibition. And this is a look at that. Now, as we go through Thursday, I want to point this out to you. On Thursday, there is a lot of color in Texas and Oklahoma. This is where the risk is high, but the inhibition is high through most of the day. There is a cap in the atmosphere over much of Texas, this model says. Now, as we go later into the day, the cold air rolling off the Rockies, boom, it starts lowering the inhibition in western parts of Oklahoma and Texas. So it looks like the best chance of storms may be later in the day as this inhibition lowers, as that cap weakens, as the cold air aloft moves in and allows those rising bubbles of air to really rocket up in the sky. So that's what inhibition is. Now, this is a look at Friday's inhibition. Notice as we go into Friday afternoon, there's no inhibition, very little, in portions of Iowa and Missouri where the risk is. So there will be a pretty good chance at seeing some thunderstorms in these areas. And remember, there is some spin in the atmosphere. So Friday's severe weather threat is not negligible by any stretch of the imagination. There's not much inhibition for storms, such as there was in Texas on Thursday, such as there was in Oklahoma on Thursday. Boom, here we go, Saturday. This is one of the reasons why I think we'll have the best chance. This is in the morning. The inhibition is strong, but as that trough rolls out of the southwestern United States, that big dip in the jet stream, look at the inhibition disappear. That's right. It comes with some cold air. There's going to be cooling, and it's going to be right at the right time. This is Saturday afternoon, and it is going to unleash the potential for those rising pockets of air to just roll up to the top of the atmosphere as high as they want. The convective inhibition increases as we go into Sunday for portions of the northern plains. So there could be some limited thunderstorm activity there. So that's a little insight into the days that we have. And once again, I just want to summarize that I think we do have that potential for severe weather. A little bit tonight, we have some again on the day on Wednesday. It doesn't look too big as we go into your hump day. Thursday, though, it returns in a big way, enhanced risk of severe weather. That's in the central plains from Kansas and down into Oklahoma and Texas. And then on Friday, that shifts up towards places like Chicago, Rockford, Illinois in the central plains. Again, Saturday, I think may be the pick day the way it looks right now, and that's Texas and Oklahoma in the central and eastern parts of the state. Then another round as we go from Saturday and into Sunday that moves eastward once again, and that will affect folks in the Missouri River Valley from St. Louis and on up into the northern part of the United States as far north as places like Illinois, Chicago, and Arkansas. All right, again, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I'm going to close with a look at what's happening right now. To do that, we're going to look at this forecast and the radar over here. We got satellite loaded up, and I just wanted to highlight some of the advisories we have. We'll go from left to right here. A wind advisory. This is 3 days worth of wind from the big trough that's going to rock its way into parts of Southern California, 70-mile-per-hour winds. Fire danger, southern parts of Colorado. severe thunderstorm watch with an active warning in and around the Abilene area. We're going to check in on that. Look at the visible satellite imagery showing those clouds percolating with a lot of percolation down there in Texas. Now, as you look, wind in Jonesboro, Arkansas, the northeast quadrant of the state there, and look at what's going on in Minnesota, Rochester, western portions of Wisconsin. This, folks, is a freeze warning. Oh my goodness. It's going to be freezing there. And you see all of this pinkish color here? We have more cold air from Cleveland to Fort Wayne, all the way up into Lansing, Michigan. This is a freeze watch. So if you planted the petunias, get those puppies covered, would you? Central parts of central parts of Pennsylvania, seeing a freeze watch as well. That's Williamsport down to State College, PA. And look at this. You are not immune in the state of New York and portions of Connecticut. And, well, look at this. Bridgeport, you're going to see this risk for some freezing temperatures as well as we go through the next couple of mornings. So now let's hot pocket our way right into what's going on down in Texas. We're going to take a look at these storms and then we'll let you go. Hey, thunderstorms rocking their way through parts right towards Abilene. What does Hutch see on this? Well, let me tell you what I see. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Number one, what you notice here is this backward C shape. Backward C shape would indicate what we call a bow echo. That bow echo right there is going to mean we got some stout winds that'll be the potential with these storms. Those winds will be from the northwest just by looking at this quickly. These storms are moving from northwest to southeast, and we have a couple of hail cores here. So as we erase Hutch's drawings here, we got a hail core moving towards Buffalo Gap. Moving in the southeast, these are moving at about 35 miles per hour. The last I looked, we'll look again. Here's another hail core that's right here. Now, these storms are going to be working their way with their backward C shape right here. And that backward C shape means gusty straight line winds will likely be the main threat. Let's see what the National Weather Service has to say about these storms right now by showing you the details on the latest warning. We got a brand new warning just issued right now on Hutch's weather. 1-inch hail for the storms that are heading down to the south. And those storms also have the capability for 60-mile-per-hour gusty winds with the storms. So that's a look at those. Let's get you a look at that new warning that's taking place out here as I clear off this. And let's move over here. This storm right here, northern side of Abilene, is working its way off to the southeast also. It's moving at a similar clip. Let's get the latest on the warning from that 1-inch diameter hail, 60-mile-per-hour gusts. You can see this pink area here. That's that hail core that's working its way to the south and east. That one's heading towards Clyde. I'll go ahead and take a look at the timing on the storm system as it works its way to the south and east at 31 miles per hour. So let's pull up my toolbox right here and let's clear this off the screen for you. And we'll go ahead and try to plot the leading edge of this storm moving to the southeast. We're going to put it at 38 miles per hour. Here's some times when that storm is going to work its way into different communities. Let me move this window down. Clyde, you'll want to be prepared for the storm in about 18 minutes moving into your area and on towards Admiral by around 40 minutes away. Now, as this is a broadcast you're seeing on the channel here on YouTube, keep in mind that you'll want to get your latest weather information from your local National Weather Service office. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I work in the Northern Plains and have been a meteorologist for the last 30 plus years. Research, broadcast meteorology, and teaching in the college classroom for the better part of 20 years as well. I appreciate your likes, your comments, and drop me a comment where you're watching from. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe.